maybe an incursion, that word we heard from the president a few weeks ago. Maybe that's what happened. So we'll stay on top of that. We have more guests coming up to talk about it. In the meantime, House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy has vowed to launch a congressional investigation into the Durham Report findings if Republicans win a majority in November.
A Friday's court filing alleges that a tech executive tied to Hillary Clinton's campaign mined sensitive data to dig up dirt on the former president. Now, for the latest, let's check in with congressional correspondent Kilmeny Dukart live on Capitol Hill. Kilmeny, what's the latest?
Bob and Heather, good to be with you. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and other Republicans have been very vocal on their outrage over these findings, their frustration that this is largely being ignored by the mainstream media, and they're also demanding accountability. Kevin McCarthy, in a statement to the New York Post, saying Democrats and legacy media may want to sweep this alarming report under the rug, but if House Republicans earn the majority, we will use oversight tools to determine whether federal funds were used, whether federal office holders abused their power, and investigate other disturbing elements of this spying scheme to ensure nothing like it ever happens again. And these were sentiments that were also echoed by Republican Senator Rick Scott.
We need accountability. We need accountability for the Clinton campaign. We need accountability for Adam Schiff and Jerry Nadler, because they were complicit in this. So the media needs to start doing their job, talk about exactly what's coming out, and hold these people accountable.
Republicans are also zeroing in on National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, who at times worked for the Clinton campaign, and released a statement reacting in 2016 to the supposed link between Trump and a Russian bank. Some of the GOP are calling on Sullivan to step down, saying that this is a conflict of interest, particularly at a time where he's supposed to be managing an escalating Russian crisis with Ukraine.
All right. Kilmeny, thank you very much. Right now, we want to bring in Congressman Ralph Norman, who has been following what's going on with the Durham Report, of course. He joins us right now. Congressman, I wanted to get your take on this report. Now, we've heard the term spying. We've heard wiretapping. I don't know that that's accurate, but I wanted to get your impression of what actually is done and why there should be a response to this somehow.
Sure. Bob, Heather, you know, the more we get into this, the more we hear about it, you know, this makes Watergate look like child's play. For the Clinton campaign to have officials, namely Michael Sossaman, go in and pay a tech guy to transmit information from the Oval Office and prior to Trump going into the Oval Office, to his apartment and to Trump Towers, to them and then deny it, is outrageous. And the fact that the press isn't covering this, Jerry Nadler is not covering this. There's no Democrat that has expressed outrage. And the thing about it, Bob, you know, they've got phone records and they got billing records that indict these individuals. And it goes back to the dossier that was fake. They were trying to just create a narrative that would implicate Donald Trump, starting back in 2014, but mainly in 2016 when he took office. And it's illegal. Somebody should do jail time, which I think they will. And the reputation that John Durham has is he's a bulldog. He is above the political politics of letting that interfere with him. And it's outrageous when you think about it. And I think there's more indictments to come.
As a member of the Homeland Security Subcommittee on Cybersecurity, talk to us about any concerns that you have when it comes to this being done in the Oval Office, in the White House, the President of the United States. I think that alone should make this headline news all across this country. Specifically, when you take a look at this portion of the Durham filing where it states that the tech executive one tasked these researchers from Georgia Tech to mine internet data to establish an inference and narrative tying then candidate Trump, this is actually before, to Russia. In doing so, Tech Executive One indicated that he was seeking to please certain VIPs, referring to individuals at law firm One and the Clinton campaign. But as I said, this continued once he got to the White House. And the thing is, even if this firm, this tech firm, and tell me if I'm wrong, had been hired to do this in some way, they were using the information they were getting in a way that they were not tasked to do so with. And the FBI at some point was made aware of that.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Sussman denied this back when he testified in 2016 to the FBI. And again, Durham has got this of record. And Heather, the thing about the cybersecurity and the fact that they were able to do this on the President of the United States, look at what they can do to just the average citizen. But they were transporting information. And by the way, if you look at the math on it, from 2014 to 2017, there were 3 million information's request of the Russian things that went to Russia. And of the 3 million for those 3 years, only 1 million were remotely related to Donald Trump. And so that's a fraction of a percent. So they were doing this intentionally. And if they can do it to the President of the United States, who else have they done it to? And Kevin McCarthy's right. When we get back power, we're going to make sure this doesn't happen to other Americans, and we got to hold them accountable. If they get by with this, the American public will lose complete faith in the political system and in the security.
What do you expect from Mr. Durham? Because even the scenario you're laying out for Republicans investigating, that's almost a year away. What do you expect from Mr. Durham between now and then?
It's just like what John Ratcliffe said, who was the National Intelligence worked for Donald Trump. He said there are going to be more indictments. He was saying this before the Durham Report came out. So I think what Mr. Durham has indicated he will do is provide more names. He'll provide more information. And it's going to be hard for the Clintons and those who took part in this to get out of this because, again, Durham is thorough. He's got records. He's got billing information. Mark Elias is complicit in this. The Perkins Coie law firm who Hillary Clinton employed is their names all over this. So yeah. I think more things will come out.
Yeah, you even have one of those Georgia Tech researchers quoted as saying, the only thing that drives us at this point is that we just do not like Trump. This will not fly in the eyes of public scrutiny. Folks, I'm afraid we have tunnel vision, but yet they continued. Congressman Ralph Norman, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.